Bullet Club.
If it's your first time with us. This is Leanne Presents. I'm Leanne, your host for this video, and I'm joined by Alan, my co-host, my partner, my husband, as always. So as you've seen from the title card, we're here today with our reactions to WWE's latest premium live event, Survivor Series War Games, which took place on 25th of November, 2023, at Allstate Arena in Chicago. This is the 37th annual Survivor Series, although it, as we discussed in our predictions, is a bit debatable what counts as Survivor Series these days.
Secured for paying attention though.
I'm getting better! So, in case you're not aware, this is going to be spoiler heavy for Survivor Series because it's our reactions. So if you're planning to watch the premium live event, please watch that first if you haven't already. You might also want to check out our predictions, which we put up earlier in the week, which we'll put a link to somewhere on the screen if you want to see sort of what we predicted, so you can see what we're sort of reacting to and where we're coming from in this video. But otherwise, let's get into it. So we open immediately with War Games.
Yep.
The women's War Games, this one, obviously, because the men's is going to be the main event, as always, mostly. That's fine, it makes sense. So the first team coming out, we've got Bianca Belair, Shotzi, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch. And then the second team is Damage Control, which is made up of Bayley, Io Sky, Kairi Sane, and Asuka. And they're all wearing what the commentators refer to as Asuka masks.
Yeah.
It looks really cool though,
yeah.
It's very effective. They come out together as a unit, which is great. Let's get this out of the way. The Ruffles sponsorship. Oh my goodness. Luckily no mascots. Couple of crisp packets standing up on the unnaturally on the commentator's desk. And the like screens around the outside and the ticker tapes around the side of the arena were very Rufflesy. We didn't watch the pre-show, but I imagine that's where they announced the results of the fan vote.
The van vote?
Fan vote.
Yeah.
For which team gets the advantage. We discussed it in the predictions. We don't know how accurately
I think I even predict it.
Yeah, how accurately they actually adhere to the fan vote. But it came out that Bianca Belair's team, I don't know, it doesn't have a team name, so I'll just refer to it by one of the people in it.
Team Ego.
Team Ego
And Shotzi.
would have the advantage.
Team Ego plus Shotzi.
Yes. Team Ego plus a bit of crazy. So we start with Becky Lynch and Bayley in the ring. Everyone else gets locked up.
Locked up.
Locked up in shark cages. I wouldn't want to be in one of those things when there's sharks, though. Don't think. We do get quite early on. We were wondering where Dakota Kai would be. She's also in Damage Control, but isn't cleared to wrestle at the moment, so could be in the match. But she interferes quite early on, so before anyone else comes out, using a kendo stick to poke Becky from the outside, but then like weirdly sort of leaves the kendo stick in the mesh of the cage, so it can be taken into the ring by Becky. But this is fine.
I feel that it was supposed to be Bayley getting it, but
probably, and Bayley did get it shortly after.
Yeah.
As you do. Yeah, that's cool. And then Shotzi's next to enter from Team Shotzi.
Yeah, just do it that way.
And she grabs a trash can and a bunch of chairs from under the ring and throws them in. There's a quite a cool moment with Shotzi. She sort of leaps onto a chair and sort of leaps off it onto Bayley as an attack.
It's almost like a Sabu springboard.
Which looked great, apart from the chair did kind of slip and fold in on itself as she was jumping, and Shotzi kind of landed a bit awkwardly on it. But made it look good, and she didn't seem to be hurt, so it's all good. Next, from Damage Control, Io Sky, who brings chains with her, and she sort of uses those chains.
That's an actual chain, not the old wrestler chains.
Yeah, you got to specify, like, any word you say is, like, not the wrestler.
Though there was a wrestler called Chains, he was part of the Titles of Apocalypse.
I don't doubt you.
Yeah.
She sort of uses the chain to slingshot Shotzi across the ring, which is a pretty cool view. Pretty cool.
Slingshot Shotzi. That sounds like a tongue twister.
It does a bit.
How many Shotzi's could you slingshot? Slingshots could slingshot Shotzi?
I love it. I have to write that one down. Try it. A challenge for our viewers.
Oh, my brain. Ouch.
Next to enter from Team Bianca is Bianca Belair, or as I've written, Bianca Two Braids Belair, because she has two braids this time. She does sort of use them in the sense
and it
that
looks stupid.
Instead of like one person holding onto the braid and she brings them in to attack, does it with two people at once. Most of the time she was just whipping people one after the other at exactly the same rate as she would with one anyway, so
and it looked stupid.
Yeah, it was a bit weird. Next from Damage Control we've got Kairi Sane, who gets a bin lid from under the ring, and she's vicious with that thing. She like backhand wallops a couple of people with it. It just looks so good. Just like the sound of it as well. Brutal. Loved it. And then Charlotte Flair comes in.
Woo.
And weirdly, even for like everyone else, it was like there's a key moment that I was like, oh, that's cool, and it's about the person who's just entered. I didn't really get anything for Charlotte.
Actually basic.
Yeah, that's fine. I got another moment from Io Sky as she climbs to the top of the structure, the cage, with the chain, drops part of it down to Dakota Kai on the other side, who attaches a trash can to it. Io winches it up and then puts it over herself and dives onto everyone down below, which is very cool. We've seen her do that before, I think just off the top of the ring post in a previous match.
I think so.
But off the top of the cage, pretty impressive and probably very painful. And then we get Asuka, a final Damage Control member coming in, the newest member of Damage Control. And she brings out black kendo sticks, just to show that she's definitely evil, I suppose. And she also brings out a table, much to the...
Right, hang on. What about the colour black, says evil Leanne? It's just a colour.
Well, you know, it's TV stuff, isn't it?
Ugh, hate it. Judgment Day are actually the good guys.
It's like, this is dark, I don't know. Yeah, she also brings out a table which the crowd are very happy about because they've been calling for tables from the start.
Yeah.
As expected. And she also brings out a fire extinguisher. We get some Blue Mist action. Asuka Blue Mist's Shotzi so that she's able to missile dropkick Becky, who is in a trash can. It's a whole sequence of events. I think this is one of those matches that you've got to watch for yourself because so much was happening all the time. And then that's sort of all the highlights I put in until the finish. So anything you want to comment on?
There was some bad producing parts where Shotzi was kind of on the top turnbuckle and she was motioning to Io to either come closer or go further away. I can't remember what it was. And it's like, oh, way to make it look too obvious. Well done.
They did linger on that for quite a while as well. They should have noticed and pulled away. The
left-handed braid slaps looked awful. I'm just going to hammer that back in. And the Charlotte getting in the ring and Becky, and then they clear everyone down, and then they're just staring at each other, and then they're like, what?
They look so mad.
And then they hug, and it just looked so forced. And I'll tell you what I think that is. They still have beef.
Yes.
But Triple H, in his infinite wisdom, was like, look, just do it for the sake of the team. Just hug. And they were like, okay, we'll hug. And they hugged. And it was almost like a slap, trying to see which one of them could get the other one to sort of say, all right, enough first. Yeah. That's what it felt way too aggressive.
It almost felt like one of them was going to pull back and just slap the other one in the face.
I literally thought that's where it was going,
these guys are not friends.
Nope, that's what I got.
Okay, so the finish. We have Becky Lynch hitting Bayley with a manhandle slam through a table and pinning her to win in quite an anticlimactic finish.
Yeah, it was not good.
The whole match was very high energy, back and forth. The tables were turning constantly, as you expect in war games, because the
not
advantage
the table she got
changing.
put through, just the in general tables.
No, but then at the end, you had the whole of Team Becky standing there as if they hadn't just taken the beating of their lives, and all of Damage Control are down. Yeah. Even though it's been so even the whole way through. So it did feel like a bit out of nowhere. Yeah. But apart from that end, I really enjoyed this match. I think it was great. It was fun, engaging. An odd choice for a start. I think it could have benefited from there being a warm-up match beforehand. But it pulled me in straight away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was too many bits in this that dragged it down for me.
Yeah.
The left-handed braid slaps looked awful. As good as the trash can at the top was really cool, it still looked a bit janky and it looked a bit too forced because they were all just waiting there lined up.
Just
it was like dominoes. They're just dominoes on the floor. And it's like, right, you're making it look too obvious. At least have two people in the other ring to focus while everyone's laying there like, you know, the hug, that was awful.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
You know, and obviously the camera thing just back this way, that way, and then jumping, and it's like, oh, God.
Yeah. But it feels like those sorts of things, if you had a warm-up match, the producers, the camera crew might have been a bit more on point. They might have, like, Charlotte and Becky might have had more time to work themselves out and figure out that was a bad idea.
Yeah.
So it's, like, hard to know where the fault lies, I suppose, on those moments.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll get some news on different bits and pieces as we go across the next few days.
Definitely.
But yeah, in terms of predictions, we both predicted Damage Control to win, and we got that one incorrect.
Yeah.
I do feel the outcome of this match was the wrong decision.
Yes.
Because now they're going to make Damage Control look weak.
Yeah.
But the only other option they've got is to go, well, Bayley lost the match for us, so we're going to kick her out of Damage Control. But Bayley was the one doing all the heavy lifting.
She really was. She did so many saves in that match that even the commentators were saying that Bayley's the MVP of
Let's be honest, they said it after I did.
Well, technically they said it before you did.
No, I said it before, and then there's like, oh, thanks for catching up, Corey.
I mean, like, because it was recorded.
Oh, well,
last night.
yeah. But you know, in terms of watching
I get you.
Yeah, anyway.
You were on it.
Anyway.
Yeah, so, okay. But anyway.
What filler we got, Leanne?
Oh, so much. I can almost forgive filler at this point because there's a lot to clean up after a match like this. So, we're like, it would be a bit nice, but it's still a lot. So we went to the back where Alpha Academy were watching the match, I suppose, along with Chelsea Green and Piper Niven for some reason. And they were eating Ruffles.
Sponsorship, obviously.
And then Pretty Deadly comes out, and they're British, obviously. And they start having an argument with Alpha Academy, or with Otis in particular, about whether it's chips or crisps.
It's crisps.
It doesn't matter. But then R-Truth comes out. We haven't seen R-Truth for ages.
He got injured. He went onto NXT for a match and he got injured. I can't remember what the injury was and I can't remember when it was.
Yeah, so it's nice to see him back. And this is kind of exactly the kind of spot that he comes back in. And he calms the situation down by saying that they're not crisps or chips, they're Ruffles. And then has Tozawa doing the Ruffle Shuffle. It's weird, and I have no idea why Chelsea Green and Piper Niven were there at all.
To keep the belts in prevalent view, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose. Because I think Chelsea had said something like...
Chicago probably would have loved me.
Yeah.
And then Piper's like, excuse me?
They'd have loved us. There we go. Then we have an ad for Royal Rumble, which is at the end of January.
Yep. 9 weeks.
Yeah, it's not long really, but long in terms of WWE Premium Live events. Then we have a DraftKings ad, an ad for the NFL belts things.
I'm sick of seeing these belts.
And then we go to the back with Sami Zayn and Jey Uso, who are worried because Randy Orton hasn't turned up yet. And Jey Uso's sort of saying that it's his fault because he's the one who put Randy on the shelf. And they're like, it'll be fine. Everything will be fine. And we're like, oh no, what is going to happen? And this is a bit where this whole event, which I enjoyed, sort of started taking a downturn because I was just worried about what on earth was going to happen. But we'll get to that later. The last bit of filler, thanks to Black Sabbath for War Pigs, which is the official song of War Games.
Black Sabbath. Can't fault a bit of Black Sabbath.
Good song. Even though they like loop a bit of it. They don't use the whole song.
Yeah.
It's fine. I don't care. Next match. For the Intercontinental Championship, Gunther defending against The Miz.
Who is?
Awesome.
Awesome!
He's awesome. This is a great match. I really enjoyed this. There's a couple of moments that stood out. You had Gunther trying to deliver one of his signature chops, but Miz ducks out of the way, turns it around, and does one of his own on Gunther, who is taken completely by surprise. It's so good. Loved it. Miz was working on both of Gunther's legs throughout, trying to take down those nasty kicks. And I guess, like, once your legs are down, you can't do much. So there was a couple of really good moves he did. He did the Bret Hart. He was doing, it's like a leg lock on the outside.
Figure four. It's figure four around the ring post.
Around the ring post, which was a cool moment.
That's quite funny because I said, "Oh, he's going to Bret Hart's catalogue," and then 30 seconds later, Cody Rhodes like, "Bret Hart used to use a move like that."
Yeah.
It's like I was preempting the commentary team all the way through this event. It's great.
I feel like you watched this last night when I was asleep. The other fun bit, there's one point where the Miz is in the corner. Gunther's got him from behind, and Miz is taking the turnbuckle pad off.
Well, he's kind of. I think he's just holding onto it, and it just kind of rips off.
Rips right off. Not very well secured, apparently. But as the ref is going to fix it, Miz hits a low blow. And yes, that's pretty good. Those are my highlights. Anything you want to highlight before we get to the finish?
I thought it was a really great showing for Miz. I thought it was great.
Yeah, definitely. Sort of back on form a bit.
Yeah.
He hasn't had much opportunity to really show what he can do. And this is, it was great. So Gunther has the Boston Crab on the Miz. The Miz sort of tries to reach for the ropes, but Gunther pulls him back into the middle and then puts his knee on Miz's back, at which point he has no option but to tap.
Yeah. I like the finish on that.
Yeah.
I think that, I really do think Miz come off looking much stronger for this, and that's kind of what he's needed for a little bit, I think.
Yes.
I want Gunther to sort of come out on Raw and be like, yeah, fair play, Miz, well done. You really tested me, and I appreciate that, and I don't look at you in the same light. So just give him some sort of props.
Yeah.
Because I think that's needed, I really do.
Yeah, I completely agree. 'Cause it sort of felt like, the ending felt like it was quite sudden, but it worked in that story.
Yeah. It wasn't sudden to the women's Wargames match. It was sudden like a, oh, okay, it's transitioning into a second kind of like, I wasn't sure if he's going for a single like crab or a Boston crab, but then he obviously stuck
like
the knee in. He was almost a bit like not the Walls Jericho, the other one. The Line Tamer almost.
Yeah.
But then he stuck the knee in, and it's like, oh god,
There's
okay.
no way out.
Oh, speaking of, they did mention Chris Jericho during this match.
They did.
Which was a surprise.
So we apologise us both for saying they never would, because they did. Because if the Miz had won, he'd be tying for Jericho's record as the most nine-time Intercontinental Champion.
Yep.
Words.
Yep.
With the finish, it felt like Gunther at that point realised that Miz was a genuine threat to him, and he had to end it quickly, and that's why he used that.
Yeah.
So I don't think we haven't seen him sort of use that.
I was just thinking that now.
So it was like a almost desperation, perhaps.
Yeah, he doesn't tend to go for submissions, does old Gunther.
It was like power slams and stuff, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it.
In terms of predictions, we both got that one correct.
Yay. Then we get some filler. There's no excuse for this filler. That's fine. An ad for the replica belts. Feel like a champion and also feel a lot poorer.
Oh, those replica. Whenever you see a replica belts, now I think of those bloody NFL ones.
Ones, yeah. There was a weird credit one ad with Jey Uso and Liv Morgan. Jay's like got this massive cap on because he's living large and like a massive bowl of cereal, and it's still weird.
Really awkward, yeah.
Then there's an ad for the WWE Experience, which is opening near the end of January in Saudi Arabia. It does look really cool, but it's all the way in Saudi Arabia. Not bad. And then we go to the Judgment Day backstage, who are also discussing Randy not being there. So my nerves just like ramping up. The Chicago crowd, you could already hear them, just CM Punk chanting. Oh no.
Continue.
I need to add that to my signs list. Very good. So speaking of signs list.
Oh, we go straight into that.
It's time for your favourite segment. Leanne signs up for the PLE. Leanne signs up for PLE.
Flair.
It still says Flair. I just put some exclamation marks because it was a bigger post-it note than I expected.
Ooh, that's gone heavy with that post-it note.
Sorry. Okay. Let's conform a little bit with signs. A little bit. I managed to get 3, so we've got a top 3. Whoop, whoop, whoop. In third place, please rip my sign. It's one of those, it was on the entrance ramp. And no one's gonna, because they only rip signs that are relevant to them, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like what you need to do, top tips for Rip My Sign Guy.
Rip My Sign Guy.
You need that sign plus another sign that's like insulting the wrestler and like an arrow. So they're saying to rip that sign instead, and then you might get somewhere.
What I was thinking is you could have like a little scrap of paper on the top, like a post-it note, and have like Rhea. You'd stick it on.
Yeah.
And then Rhea's match
Swap
goes,
it
it doesn't happen, you pull it off, and like, who's next? Cody. Please, and that, yeah.
Yes, for everyone. In second place, which this one I love because of how like passive aggressive it is. How's the couch, Kevin?
I can see that one.
It's like the most like, haha, I'm here and you're not. Yeah, CM junk sign. There wasn't one of those.
No.
Just like, I don't know, it's just being so mean, but at the same time acknowledging someone on TV. It's great. And then sign number 1, which is why it's relevant to the next match that we'll come to.
Okay.
You hope his leg gets amputated?
Right, yeah.
Just with amputated underlined question marks. Because that's what we were all thinking when Escobar hit that promo on Rey Mysterio. Like, I hope your leg gets amputated. And we're like, okay, that's a bit much. Because it is a bit much.
Like, you kind of expect something like that from Christian Cage.
Yeah.
But not from Santos Escobar.
No, he hasn't built up to that level of weird...
Vicious.
Madness. There we go. That was Leanne, Science of the PLE. Leanne, Science of the PLE. But I have to keep that sign and just use it every time. So that nicely brings us on to our next match, which is Dragon Lee versus Santos Escobar. So when we did our predictions, this was going to be Carlito versus Santos Escobar, but on SmackDown, there was a whole altercation and like a string of attacks in which Escobar eventually took Carlito out of action.
So, they brought Carlito back in May.
Yes.
They had him cancel his independent date so he could re-sign a contract with WWE.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was SummerSlam he showed up next, wasn't it?
I think so.
Let me just double check my notes a sec. Try to turn the friggin' pages. All Out, Payback, All In, SummerSlam. That's not my notes. Okay, was it Payback? Carry on, sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, he was sort of not shown up for ages, and then he's shown up with the LWO.
Yeah.
Sort of not being like used in matches, but used to start this feud between Escobar and Rey Mysterio, and now he's had a match advertised and he's not allowed to do it. So it is a bit, why is he here?
Yeah.
But saying that, Dragon Lee is incredible.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I know they're sort of doing a big push on him, so I can sort of see why they did it, but I don't understand why they couldn't have just set it up to be this in the first place a bit.
Found it. It was Fastlane. It was the LWO versus Bobby Lashley and the Profits, and Yaquin Wild got taken out, so they had the mystery partner, which was obviously Carlito.
That's right.
So Fastlane was in September, so he signed a contract in May, doesn't show up till September.
Yeah.
I think that's his only match.
I think so.
I really don't understand what they're doing with Carlito is where I was going with this.
Maybe he doesn't, maybe he's not feeling ready. I don't know.
He was wrestling on the independent scene constantly.
So, weird choices. Everything's fine. This was a really good match, though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There was so much emotion on show from both these guys. There's so much. The build up to it has actually been. It's been good, apart from the weird amputation thing. This is fine, but it's allowed them to bring in that emotion. Both these guys, even though Dragon Lee sort of was only thrust into it on SmackDown. I think he made a really good show of it, and like the motivation for him being there and really wanting to win was quite clear. It's good stuff. Escobar, his entrance, he's got this poncho on. I don't know if I'm like being insensitive a bit. It looked like a rug. It's the pattern of it is sort of reminds me of the like classic looking Persian rug kind of things. It had tassels on it in the places you'd expect them to be on a rug. It's just had a hole in the middle for his head to go through. It's still weird. Didn't get it, but maybe that's just what they're meant to look like. I don't know. There was a moment where Escobar was trying to take Dragon Lee's mask off. See, luchador having the mask is part of their identity. It's an honor kind
Almost
of thing.
sacred, yeah.
Taking off is the worst thing you can do to a luchador. Apart from amputating their leg. Anyway. But he sort of ended up almost dragging Dragon Lee across the ring from the eye holes, which is a really effective visual. Luckily didn't take it off, but it sort of really got the crowd on Dragon Lee's side.
Do you think we're going to get Santos versus Dragon Lee in a luchador mask versus amputated leg match? So if Dragon Lee loses, he has to unmask, and if Santos loses, he has to amputate his leg.
Wow, those are the stakes. Those are some high stakes. I think it was a powerbomb that Dragon Lee did on Escobar that really, it looked like a struggle, but in a way that made it look really effective when he pulled it off. Just like, Escobar is quite a bit bigger than Dragon Lee, and Dragon still managed to get him up, and it didn't look like Escobar was helping.
Yeah,
like you
don't
know they do. But yeah, it gets him up and does a really effective powerbomb on him, and it was a good moment. It was a cool moment. Any highlights from you?
No, it was good. I really enjoyed it.
A good match?
I think it was better for having Dragon Lee in it.
Yeah.
Like, no offense to Carlito, but I think if he'd been in the match, it would have been this good.
Maybe that's sort of what they realised.
Then why hire Carlito back in the first place if you're not going to use him?
Because it's WWE. They make odd choices.
You're not wrong about
that. So for the finish, Santos hits a Phantom Driver, I believe it was, on Dragon Lee and pins him to win. So Santos Escobar is successful.
In terms of predictions, Leanne got that one incorrect. I got that one correct.
Yes, I stuck with Escobar losing after the change. I don't know, I thought Dragon Lee might get it.
It's too early for it.
Yeah, really enjoyed this match. It's good stuff.
They need to build Santos up as a credible heel. Just saying, I want to amputate his leg isn't really enough.
Well,
you know?
You want to amputate his leg? That's not the phrasing, but it's fine. Alright. Filler time!
Whee!
Okay, there's an ad for NXT Deadline, which is coming in
2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
Something like that.
Pretty cool. There's a WWE shop ad, and it's the tagline of it is "There's no such thing as too much Flair," and then you've just got Charlotte Flair going "woo," bit lame. Then there's a Slim Jim ad with LA Knight. I think we've seen this one before.
I think so. Yeah, it seems familiar.
It's got Randy Savage on the screen from the original ads, and I think it's pretty much recreating it, but with LA Knight instead. And then the New Day arrive.
Yeah.
Even though they're not part of the show, in a Slim Jim car. It's completely decked out with Slim Jim branding, and they've got loads of Slim Jim.
Well, we've seen the car before.
Yeah, we have, haven't we? We've done this before.
LA Knight won the Slim Jim Battle Royale at SummerSlam.
We did. Yeah, and that brings us to our next match, kind of, because it's sponsored by Slim Jim. The Women's World Championship. Rhea Ripley defending against Zoey Stark. So again, we got Slim Jim stuff everywhere. They don't have any on the announce desk this time.
I kind of wanted one of them to grab a Slim Jim and start beating everyone with it.
But it's just
a comically big, a large, this big Slim Jim, just like a kendo gym.
Yes.
Or a slim kendo stick or slim stick.
But yeah, you got the ticker tape around the outside of the arena, and you've got the screens. And something I've just realised. 2 women's matches on this card.
Yeah.
Both of them have this stupid sponsorship all over the screens.
Oh, yeah. Huh.
What's the need?
Yeah, you're right.
Why didn't one of the men's matches get stupid sponsorship all over the screens? It's not like there was a fan vote associated with this match. I don't know, I don't get it. I don't know.
It's because LA Knight isn't in the card.
But you know what? There wasn't a mascot. It's not a cinnamon crunch toast, whatever it was, thing.
Oh, that was awful.
Yeah. Never forget. We remember history so that we
Hashtag
don't
we
repeat
remember.
it. This is a really good match still. I didn't end up writing a lot of notes. There wasn't sort of much that stood out as particularly special or particularly rubbish.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
It was a really good showcase of women's wrestling. Both of these women are powerful and just really good at what they do. So they didn't have to rely on shenanigans or on shock factor to make an engaging match. So I think that's something to be said. So we started out really strong. They do tend to go into this pattern a bit with the underdog starting out being surprisingly dominant. And then you're just like, yeah, it's going to flip.
We've seen it with Miz earlier on in the show, and we've seen it with Zoey right now.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a trope. But this is fine. One really cool moment that I did note down was Zoey start countering the Riptide into a German suplex.
Yeah, that was cool.
That looked really cool.
Yeah.
It's those really smooth counters that just turn it into something else that I really appreciate. Do you have anything you wanted to highlight?
Zoey looked really strong in this, and I really like that. It's not like, oh, well, it's Natalya who's going to fight Rhea Ripley, and Rhea Ripley just beats her in like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It was Zoey Stark coming in, who's very much smaller than Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
But she looked ridiculously strong for it, and I thought that was really well done.
Yeah,
I really liked it.
She looked like a genuine contender,
Yeah.
which is brilliant. But yeah, with the finish, so Rhea headbutts Zoey and then hits her with a Riptide and pins her.
Is after she blocks the Z360 as well.
Yes, which is Zoey's finishing move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oof, you've learned your lesson.
Yeah. Rhea Ripley wins and retains the championship.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd got to say it was a decent match. I don't think it was anything special, but there was nothing that really made it feel awful either.
No.
It wasn't. It was kind of like mid to high mid.
Yeah.
You know, but it wasn't like, oh, you know, that was, oh my god, that was great. You know. Yeah. In terms of predictions, we both got that one correct. We both predicted Rhea Ripley to retain.
Yeah. I like what you said about learning the lesson though, because that's something you don't often see.
Yeah.
In wrestling is like something happens or gets countered, so the next time you do it differently, so it doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's
it's just Crown Jewel. She ate the Z360, and then obviously someone broke it up and whatever it was. But obviously Rhea was like, Ryan, to keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
And then she blocked it. She literally, I think she put her arms up or something to block it. And it's like, oh.
She's learning. We need more of that. Learn from your mistakes, Drew McIntyre. All right, some more filler. As expected.
I was going to say, speaking of Drew McIntyre, but
not quite. We're nearly there.
Not quite. Nearly.
We have another ad for the WWE shop. It's sort of they're all based on Christmas stuff.
Yeah, Christmassy one.
That kind of thing. We got the Alpha Academy showing actually some really cool merch. So I was like, ooh.
That Stone Cold vest one.
I know, right? But yeah, it's just an ad. Then there's an ad for that cricket mobile network
wireless
with Bianca
cricket
Belair.
thing, yeah.
There's an ad that we saw ages and ages ago. It's a repeat, so nothing special.
I think in the predictions I mentioned about this, and that's what it was. It was the cricket wireless 5G thing, and that was the Charlotte Flair advert I was talking about in the predictions.
We haven't seen those ads for a bit, and they just bring it back. And there's another ad for Royal Rumble, which is on January 27th. And then they...
I was making sure Triple H ain't got any mic shirts so he doesn't start bringing those adverts back. These ones are bad enough.
Yeah, I know. And then there's a promotion kind of thing for the War Games press conference, which will follow the show.
It's usually free on like YouTube or whatever.
And then we go to Team Randy in the locker room, minus the Randy.
Minus the Randy. Wow. Do you want to rephrase that?
It's minus Randy.
Dear God.
That's all it is. It's minus Randy Orton.
There we go.
He's still not there. That's my anxiety
everyone's kind of panicking, and Cody's like, it's alright.
Trust me. And we're just like, I don't know what's going to happen. We trust you, Cody, but we don't trust WWE.
Do we trust Cody?
No. I trust Randy. And that
in Orton we trust.
Brings us to the final match, the main event. It's time.
You've already said main event once. You can't do it again.
I can, because I messed it up. It's all good.
Scrub. See, I've got to work with you.
Men's War Games.
You're trying to do what Samantha Irvin does. War Games!
I haven't got the conviction to do it properly. So the first team we see, we've got Drew McIntyre and Judgment Day.
Minus Prop Rock.
R.I.P. Prop Rock. So Judgment Day made up of Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, and J.D. McDonough. And the other team who come out separately are Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins,
and blank.
And
The Invisible Man.
The Invisible Man.
The Invisible Man is teaming up with Cody Rhodes for War Games.
So there's a very big show of like them getting locked in the cage, and the commentators are like, well, that means Randy's still not here. And the crowd's going, CM Punk. And I'm going, help. Help. And honestly, I felt like this match lost a lot for me because I was anticipating CM Punk coming out and I was really dreading
Instead
it.
of Randy Orton, yeah.
I had that dread,
I had the same thing.
It just made the whole thing feel flat until closer to the end.
Yeah.
When the reveal happens.
Yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, it's sort of after every so Drew and Seth start off, and then the next person comes in, and there's a CM Punk chant. Then the next person comes in, there's a CM Punk chant. The next, there's a pattern.
Yeah, we did get some Randy chants in there, but not
right
as
at the
much.
end. But it was nowhere near the sort of.
Yeah, so Finn Balor and Seth Rollins start. Next entrant is JD McDonough, who gets some kendo sticks. They've obviously put everything back. And then Jey Uso comes out from Team Not Randy.
Team Just Mews.
Who gets a chair from the side, not from under the ring.
Yeah, that was weird.
And he's like whacking Finn Balor and JD McDonough with it. And then we go to have the next Judgment Day entrant.
Yeah.
And Drew McIntyre's trying to muscle out of the cage. But Damian Priest stops him and is like telling him, we've got to stick to the plan. And Drew's saying, but the plan's changed. And Damian saying, no, it hasn't. Stick to the plan. And Damian goes out instead.
I think the whole thing behind this is, he wants to get his hands on Jey Uso because he screwed him out of the title, even though Solo Sikoa screwed him out of the title, not Jey Uso.
Yeah, he's holding a grudge against the wrong person.
And yeah.
Because Jay's like deliberately.
And the problem is, right, if they hadn't fought on Raw, I'd be like, okay, here we go, let's go.
Yes.
But they had a friggin' match on Raw to determine the advantage.
So at the time.
This doesn't even feel right. It just feels flat.
It didn't really come to anything either. Anyway, Damian Priest has a nightstick.
It's like a telescopic baton.
Yeah. He didn't get it from under the ring or anything, he just already had it. And there's like a shot of Cody Rhodes in the cage and like, where did that come from? Talking to the refs, and we're just there like, why does it matter?
Do you think he's been learning from Dominic and he got it from his prison pocket?
I don't want to think about that. I don't want to think about Damian's prison pocket. Thank you. Not safe for kids. Anyways, next from Team Not Randy, we have Sami Zayn.
Team Not Randy.
Who uses the cage door to like slam Finn Balor between the ropes and the cage door.
Team Frigid.
And then he gets a table out.
Yeah. The crowd are like, yeah!
Yay, tables! We love tables. They use it later, it's fine. And Sami sort of at one point, he sort of climbs near the top of the cage. JD McDonough's like trying to get him down. I think it was JD.
I think it was JD.
And then Sami's still at the top. And I only noticed while he was there, I honestly don't know if it was there when the women were having
I don't remember seeing it with the women.
In each corner, because I did see it in at least 2 corners, there's like a cross bar, what it looks like, just like across the corner. And Sami just like pulls it out, just a pipe.
The thing to me, it looks like a normal steel pipe.
Just looks like a steel
pipe. I didn't notice it was in the other corner,
it's
but it felt like that was...
definitely in at least the other far corner.
It was definitely put there on purpose for this match, I think. I don't remember seeing it in the women's.
I saw it there, I was like, is that for them to... I thought maybe he was going to stand on it like a platform.
Well, the thing is, if it's on that part of the cage, it wouldn't really offer much support.
No.
Usually this welded into that top crossbar instead. You know,
I might have to look back and see if it was in the women's... in the cage of the women's match. I don't think it was. I think I'd have noticed it when they were climbing up.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a steel pipe, so he uses that. Where'd I get to? Whoop. He wreaks havoc with it, I put.
He does.
And then Drew McIntyre gets to come out. We weren't sure, because of the whole, like, stick to the plan thing, we thought maybe he was meant to come out last. And we thought maybe
Dominic just seemed to be sort of standing in the back.
From coming out. But no, it seemed like the plan for Drew to come out, so I don't know why it made that much difference. One person.
I mean, to be fair, I would say Dominic is the weak link of Judgment Day.
Yeah. Either him or JD McDonough.
I'd still go for Dom.
Yeah.
JD's been doing it for longer.
Fair enough. Okay, weird moment where Jay like tries to throw his shirt over Drew McIntyre's face so that he can hit him, but misses 2 times. It does not land on his face. One time it's like on top of his head, and the other time it's under his chin. It is there.
It's in the women's match.
The pipe was there for the women's match. So they at least kept up the
I didn't notice that.
Continuity. Next we got Cody Rhodes from Team Not Randy.
Team Frigid.
Terrible. He doesn't get it from under the ring, but it's sort of wedged down the side of the ring. He finds a bull rope.
Yeah, the rope.
Which is a tribute to Dusty Rhodes, I believe. Pretty cool. And then there's a sort of weird, tense moment where Seth Rollins grabs the other end of it. And these guys are on the same time, so I was on the same team, so I was really confused.
Yeah, that felt weird.
And they're like tugging it as if they're fighting over this thing for some reason. And then they use it to clothesline JT McDonough and Finn Balor, which was obviously what they were gonna do anyway, so why were they pretending to fight over it? I don't understand. But anyway. Next, Dominic Mysterio comes out to... when they usually... The crowd does the countdowns. When it gets to 10 seconds, they start counting down to 1. But instead of counting for Dominic, they just started booing straight away because they knew he was next. So that might have been the plan, why he was coming out last. So they could get that reaction because the crowd would know he was next. We have the table finally gets used. Damian Priest hits a razor's edge on Cody Rhodes through the table.
Was it Cody or Seth?
I put Cody, but I could be wrong.
I think it was Seth because he was going to cash in.
That was before Rhea came out. He's getting ahead.
Yeah, just
I
before.
See. I get what you mean.
So Seth was taken out. I'm pretty sure it was Seth.
Probably was.
85% certain it was Seth.
All right, he hits Seth through the table, and then I think the countdown happens, doesn't it?
Yes.
It goes down.
It does.
Counts down.
Yeah, it does.
No one comes out for a bit, and then Rhea Ripley's music hits.
Yeah, Judgment Days.
Judgment Days music. She runs down. She's got the briefcase, and they're like, "We're gonna cash in," and the ref's sort of looking back and forth because obviously Damian can't cash in physically himself because he's in a cage, but the ref is sort of asking for confirmation that he does want to cash in, and at that point,
we start hearing voices.
Randy Orton's music hits, and the crowd goes wild. I'm sure there's people in the crowd also not going wild at this point. They're
probably going,
finally.
We want Pepsi Phil.
Yeah. But yeah, Randy Orton comes down. He's looking good. There is no ring rust on this man.
Got a cheeky grin on his face.
So good. And at this point, the relief hits me. And I'm like, yes, let's go. And then I really enjoyed the match from this point.
5 minutes?
I know. So there's a moment where Seth and Sami have JT McDonough at the top of the cage.
Yeah, JT looks like he's trying to bail and Rhea's trying to get him to bail.
Yeah, Rhea's like, get down here. But then they basically just throw JD McDonough off into the ring and straight into the arms of Randy.
RKO'd him straight in.
RKO.
Yeah.
It looked really good.
Yeah. It's still not the best RKO I've ever seen, right?
No. It just must be so difficult to get the timing and the position exactly right with that kind of move. So yeah, all kudos to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, anything that you want to add before we get to the finish?
Nope.
Okay. So, surprisingly, JD McDonough, who just got RKO'd from the top, is not the one who gets pinned.
Yeah.
But Randy, picks up a very limp Damian Priest and, hands him to Cody Rhodes, who hits him with the crossroads and then pins him to win. So, yeah, Damian's the one who got pinned.
I don't know why they're doing that.
I know.
Unless they're going to kick Damian out of Judgment Day. But the thing is, right, if they do follow through with the damage control one,
yes.
I feel that doing it with Judgment Day as well would be a really bad move.
Yeah.
Because you're just repeating the same storyline on 2 separate shows.
Yeah, that's very true.
In terms of predictions, we both got that one correct.
Yeah.
We picked Team Not Horny to Team Frigid.
It's Team Randy again, he got there. I don't know why he was late. Maybe they'll talk about it in the press conference.
Maybe.
Don't know. Missed his flight or something. I don't know. But yeah, I mean... the atmosphere of the match did feel like it changed completely the moment he came down.
It did, yeah.
Although the whole build-up and sort of just that feeling, the sort of hints of what might have been happening really did ruin this match for me, I think. Which is a shame. And then, just to top it all off, after the match is finished, they do a curtain call. The winners do a bow and everything, and seem to all be friends. Even Randy and Jay, who had beef, but they seem okay. They probably have something. But then,
go on, Band-Aid, rip it off.
CM Punk's music hits. The Chicago crowd goes absolutely insane. This is what they've been asking for. Out comes CM Punk. I didn't know you had a second one. I agree though. Coke's better than Pepsi.
Coca-Cola. Let's not permit ourselves to be drug addicts.
I mean, who knows?
Way to take over Randy Orton's triumphant return.
Yes.
Way to just basically take that fire that Randy Orton just started and relieve your bladder onto it to make it a damp squib.
They knew, being in Chicago, that bringing CM Punk out was going to get the biggest pop possible. You can't deny that. The Chicago crowd are always going to be loyal to CM Punk.
It's that Simpsons episode, right? Where, what was it? South Park episode. Simpsons did it. Yeah. The pop in Chicago, AEW did it.
Yeah, they did do it. And then realised why it wasn't a good idea and quickly managed to...
So, they fired him for damn good reasons.
Yes.
And Triple H decides, let's hire him.
Yeah, and the worst thing for me is there was absolutely no link to any of the storylines at all. That he didn't get a mic. There wasn't anyone like, he's coming back because of this. There was the only hints towards him coming back at all was Chicago. Randy Orton's not here, and the crowd chanting CM Punk.
And it's Chicago. That's the only really veiled thing is Chicago.
Yeah, so it's not like Judgment Day loses, so CM Punk's like, I'm not having any of this, I'm part of Judgment Day, and then he comes out. There's no link at all, and it doesn't make any sense, apart from this all they wanted was a cheap Chicago pop. And a big one.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I feel bad for Randy.
Yes.
Checking out the news and seeing footage from the event, as soon as the match ended and they're having that curtain call, which you talked about, Drew McIntyre literally stormed out of the arena.
And that could have been part of, like, being annoyed that he lost. But I guess
don't
the
know.
speculation is he didn't want to be around.
The story is that Drew McIntyre, you could see him storm off in the footage that we saw. He literally storms off before CM Junk comes out, right? He goes into the locker room. He's slamming his locker shut. He's aggressively grabbing his stuff and he's bombing it out of that arena.
This isn't storyline.
Would he have done that if it was just about the loss?
No, he'd have stormed off and then be like, yeah, what a good match, everyone.
It's because of Punk.
It's gotta be. And we saw also the footage of
Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins gets out the cage. He's being held back by at least 6 people. He's giving the bird and he's shouting F you to CM Punk.
And obviously the crowd are seeing that. So some might argue, as part of the storyline they're going to start a feud. But they didn't show it on camera.
No, they didn't. In January, Seth Rollins literally put on to social media that CM Punk is a cancer.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he is to the professional wrestling industry.
Yeah.
He is nothing more than toxicity.
We've seen, and those of you who've joined us for previous videos, we've talked about and we've like been through everything that happened in AEW. And obviously we only see...
We even touched on the stuff from WWE back in the day.
Yeah. So, who knows, we might not see the whole story, but we see enough that we can form our opinions, and we completely understand that not everyone's going to have the same opinions of the whole situation, but from what we've seen, from what we feel, this is only going to lead to bad things.
So, okay, let me put it say. So, Rampage, when that started, like the third episode was in Chicago, and CM Punk came back, was I or was I not excited?
We were so excited.
I was so excited for it.
We were really up for it.
And for the first, maybe 6 to 8 months, he was fine.
Yeah.
And then he started on his junk stuff again.
Yeah, it's when you get the stories of what's happening backstage in the locker
let's
room.
start bad-mouthing people in promos that don't necessarily need to be done. Let's crap all over Hangman Page. Why?
Yeah.
He's toxic. He's in it for himself. He wants no one but himself to succeed. And that's it.
Yeah. So we can go into this hoping that he's learned his lesson. Not optimistic about that.
He got fired from AEW less than 3 months ago.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
It's not much time to learn, is it?
He started an altercation backstage at Wembley Stadium less than 3 months ago with Jack Perry.
Yeah. I think the best outcome from this, for a start, we know now that CM Punk is not going to be in AEW.
He's not the devil. Mm-hmm.
He's not the devil. He's not part of that. So that's a positive from our point of view.
Imagine a Shane McMahon.
Wow. What a swerve.
Oh, please.
My best hope is that CM Punk is in WWE as a part-timer, and he's just going to be brought out every now and then as like a showpiece, and then not part of much.
Part of the thing in in the press, I've only read bits of it, I haven't seen it, but they said that he creates news, he gets headlines.
That is true.
And he will be
no
full-time.
Publicity is bad publicity.
He will be full-time, I guarantee it.
Okay.
But that means it's less time between now and him getting fired from WWE again for the second time.
Yeah, watch this space, I guess. Yep, cool. And people who enjoy watching CM Punk, we don't want to take away from that. We're thinking of, it's the backstage stuff that's causing the problem, so, you know.
So there's two things I'm taking away from this, right? They fired Matt Riddle for controversy,
yeah,
but yet they hired CM Punk.
Yeah.
And Matt Riddle has been vocal about that on Twitter since, okay? Second, Triple H clearly does not watch the competition. He clearly does not watch what happened in AEW because he sees it as a secondary promotion. You don't learn anything by not studying your competitors.
Yeah.
If you're in, doesn't matter what company or avenue or whatever of whatever you look at to see what other people are doing. Do you think Xbox are sitting there going, PlayStation, nothing they do is relevant to us? Phil Spencer himself has said they are jealous of the PS5 controller.
It's a pretty good controller.
But that's the point. Xbox is watching what PlayStation do. Mm-hmm. PlayStation is watching what Xbox do. And the same with Nintendo and all the other companies. WWE really need to be watching the other companies as well to see what's going on, because then they would know about the toxicity and be like, nah. Instead, Triple H is going, it's 10 years ago, people change, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I think you mentioned to me before that this all came about in the span of a week.
They started talking in the middle week. Supposedly, Punk's contract was signed yesterday. So, Drew McIntyre's contract is coming up early next year.
Oh, this might change things.
Seth Rollins hates CM Punk.
Yeah, we know this.
When his contract comes up, if Punk's still in the company, do you think he's going to be there? Drew and Seth going to AEW? Can you imagine that?
Oh, that would be a real kick in the teeth.
Imagine it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It was well, for us, it was a bad way for this show to end.
Yeah. Orton comes in, and it's like teetering along. Orton comes in, boom. Punk turns up, boom.
Yeah. And I imagine they'll have CM Punk on Raw on Monday.
I'd imagine
give
so.
him a mic, and I don't know if they're going to give him a live mic.
They'll have to. It's a live show. What are they going to do? They can't stop it. There's literally no way to stop it.
We'll see what happens, but we'll be watching with curiosity.
All right, Leanne. So overall thoughts, without spoilers, in case people just want to skip to the final thoughts. Okay. Overall thoughts of the pay-per-view. What do you want to say?
I actually, as a whole, really enjoyed this show.
Yeah. This is probably the strongest in the last few months.
Yeah, there were no dud matches.
There were some dud finishes, but
this is fine. If the matches are good, you can sort of forgive the finish sometimes. A lot of filler, but at the same time, it was like short segments, so it didn't feel too bad, and it did give me a chance to like check on my notes and stuff.
Make sure I got any typos.
Exactly. Yeah. Overall, I did enjoy it. I really did.
Worst match in your opinion on the card?
I really don't want it to be, but it's the men's war games, and it's all because of that uncertainty and that dread. So it is a very personal thing. It was not a bad match at all. It was the personal feelings towards it. Until Randy Orton came in, I just wasn't feeling
When
it.
Rhea turned up as well with the briefcase,
Yes.
I got really excited for that. I thought, they're
be
pulling
a
the trigger.
couple.
And then Orton gets like a double shot of adrenaline. It's like, boom, for Rhea's here. He's going to cash it again. Boom, for Randy's here.
It's like doing a double jump.
Yeah.
What about you?
I have to say the same. And it's you bookended the pay-per-view with Premium Live Event with the War Games matches, right?
Yes.
The women's one felt more frenetic, more chaotic, more energetic even.
It did.
It's just the ending really let that down. And there's a couple of, oh God, really? Whereas this, like the Seth and Cody bit with the bull rope, that was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
There wasn't really as much frenetic energy as the women's match, but it should be the opposite.
Yeah, it should.
It fell flat. It really fell flat.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Favourite match?
This is actually pretty close. I was initially thinking the women's match, but I'd sort of forgotten about the dud bits.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that should take away from it, because if my
it's your own opinion. It's your own opinion. So
it's pretty close with both the Santos and Dragon Lee match and Gunther and The Miz, though. So those are really great. But I think I'll go with the women's match.
Women's match, yeah.
Yeah, like you said, it's the energy throughout it, right up until just before the finish.
Yeah.
I think really kept me engaged, and it was amazing to see all those women go for it.
Yeah. For me, it's going to be Gunther and The Miz.
Yep.
Because I really like Miz. I've liked it for a long time.
Yes.
And I feel that they're kind of slowly putting him back into that relevancy, that kind of,
Yes.
oh, look, he can actually wrestle. He's not just an entertainer. He can actually go. And seeing that against Gunther, and you can almost see it Gunther's face sometimes. He's like, where the hell did that come from?
Yeah.
And I like that, the storyline of that. Gunther's going in, and he's like, you're nothing but an entertainer. And then Miz takes him, nearly beats him, and Gunther's like,
yeah, better beat him quick.
you know, so I think I'm going to go for Gunther and Miz.
Awesome. Awesome.
Cool. Awesome. What's next, Leanne? What's next on our wrestling calendar?
We've got it's AEW. Oh gosh, this is the bit I need to get better at preparing for.
World's End.
World's End. Yes.
December 30th.
December 30th.
So we'll have our predictions out earlier than that. If we get time in December, we have had a request for a vintage reactions video. So if we get time, we will do it at some point, but it depends on what time we get. So we're not promising, but we're going to see what we can do.
Yeah, we will try.
Cool. Anything else?
I think that's it from me.
Cool. Take it away, Liam.
Okay. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you as always. Please like the video if you liked it. Subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when we drop new videos. Let us know in the comments which of these signs you prefer. What's your sign of the
PLE?
Sign of PLE.
What's the viewer's sign of the PLE?
Viewer's sign of the PLE? Yeah, did you spot any signs that you love? There were some weird ones, but this is fine. You can talk to us in the comments below or on our socials. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, X. Link trees in the description below, which will take you to all of those places, as well as clips, as links to our videos in different categories, so you can see what's going on at all times. I think that's all the things.
Yep.
That's all the things. So until next time.
Drink more Coca-Cola.
Drink more Coca-Cola. We're not sponsored. Bye.
Club.